Hello everybody, welcome to the Spoken with Steven Cast 2023, and I feel like it's time now to talk about the latest Thor movie. That's right, Thor Love and Thunder. Alright, now this movie has been very divisive. I feel like there's people who really love this movie and people who really don't, but I think out of all of them, this is one where it feels like maybe it's not as divisive as I think, because there's a lot of people that really do not like this movie. Some people are saying it's the Batman and Robin of the MCU. And in a way I can kind of see it, but I don't know. Out of all the Marvel movies, I know lately I've talked about how I feel like Marvel's somewhat on a decline after Endgame. I've mentioned this before in the past. I feel like Endgame was their last really big movie. That was their last big epic movie that they did. It was their biggest crossover series. You know, with Infinity War being fantastic and Endgame being a good way to cap off the series, I feel like that was their big game. That was their final card to play. But there's still more movies coming out. There's more shows coming out. I had them setting up for our next phase and probably the next Avenger movies coming out later on. But what do I feel about this movie? Well, all the Thor movies seem to have a level of cheesiness to them as well as the serious moments, but I feel like this is one of the movies that they really doubled down on the cheesy campiness of Thor. Like, they just went full on out there. That somewhat overshadows the really serious moments that are in the movie and the really dark scenes that are in the movie. Because there's a lot of dark moments in this movie, but it does feel like one is kind of overshadowing the other. Now, in the case of Thor Love and Thunder, I feel like if I have to rank between which one's my favorite in the series, I still gotta go with Ragnarok. Now, Ragnarok was cheesy, but it knew how to balance itself. Like, you knew its overall tone that it was going for. A fun tone, but yet also being heavy when it needed to be. This one feels like it was struggling to find its voice. It was struggling to find its voice up until the end. Like, towards the final act of the movie, that's when it feels like, okay, this is the tone it was trying to shoot for. Now, I'm not sure this is a case of the director, like the director's vision versus what the studio wanted to see. It feels like there was like some sort of miscommunication and some things that's like, okay, well, you have to follow these guidelines or we have to follow these guidelines. Because right now, recently what's come out is that there was deleted scenes with Christian Bale's character as Gore the God Butcher that were deemed really intense and like almost R-rated that they had to cut. Now, Gore as a character is a very intense villain. He's intense. His whole goal in life is to kill the gods. And he's very vicious about it because of what happened to him and his experience with being somebody who worshipped a god, who lost his family, who lost his planet, who lost everything. And he's like, well, where were you when I prayed to you? It's a strong villain to have, and Christian Bale's scenes in the movie are great. Like, it's one of the best moments of the film is whenever Gore is there, and you can tell Christian Bale is really delving into this role. But, again, I think now since the movie's available on digital, it was available on digital before, but now it's available on DVD worldwide, whereas it was available on Disney Plus and then digital download. But now since the film is out on DVD and Blu-ray, the deleted scenes are coming out. So hopefully we can see what was cut from the movie and what the original vision in mind for the movie was supposed to be. Really, if I have to talk about this movie as a whole and describe it, well, I would rank this as my second favorite in the series. Again, it's not a perfect movie by far. It's not perfect. Some of the jokes don't land. Some of the jokes are misses. But I can kind of see what I think the director wanted to do. I feel like the director really wanted to do a comedy. He wanted to do a straightforward, almost parody of itself. That's what I think he wanted to do. But then there was the other side where it's like, well, I still have to follow this Marvel formula. I still have to follow this guideline or these steps. Really, as a whole, if you go into this movie, I'd say try to go into it with an open mind and with the idea that, okay, this was meant to be a comedy. Then maybe you'll enjoy it. But really, as a whole, again, I said before, my second favorite in the series. My favorite's still going to be Ragnarok. I feel like Ragnarok is the best Thor movie. Like, here's my ranking. Okay. Ragnarok is number 1. Number 2 would be Thor Love and Thunder. The number 3 spot would actually be the original, the very first Thor movie, with the last being Dark World. Now, Dark World was a unique experience, but not particularly memorable. That's the biggest problem with Dark World, is that it was trying to be a darker movie. It was trying to be very more towards the mythology of Thor. It was trying to go for a darker tone. But the problem with that movie was there was nothing that would stand out about it. There's no memorable moments in that movie aside from Loki's first death and him, being in the guise of, Odin. But that's about it, really. The rest of the movie is just kind of bleh. With Thor: Love and Thunder, I can say it's not boring. It is entertaining. Maybe not for all the right reasons, but yeah, it succeeds in its goal of being an entertaining movie. But really, that's all I have to say about Thor: Love and Thunder. One of those movies that it depends on what mindset you go into it. If you go into it the mindset of, hey, let's just have a fun time, you'll enjoy it. If you go in this thinking like it's going to be something, really well written and well made, then you're not going to have a good time. You're going to be questioning everything about the movie. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Thor: Love and Thunder. Check it out, and let me know what you guys think.